So today I'm gonna be talking about this will be Rush, the documentary. Um, so this here's called Rush Behind the Lighted Stage. The band you know, the story you don't. Um, so I found it was a very interesting documentary. So Rush formed in Toronto in 1968. There was some stuff I did not know, like it said that was it Geddy Lee, the lead singer, bassist, and who else was there? It was him and trying to think who else it was. Alex Lifeson, known each other since I believe it said since junior high. So they were, playing in different bands. And then later on, around 68, they decided to form Rush. So they're doing like covers of like Stone, Beatles, stuff like that. So it said here, Rush is one of the rock's most influential bands, ranked third consecutive gold or platinum albums after the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. The band enjoys a devoted following by legions around the world and is reversed by generations of musicians, yet their incredible success story has up to this point remained largely untold. Future never before seen archive footage and interviews with some of today's most respected rock artists. Rush Behind the Lighted Stage explores the 40-year career and phenomenon behind what could be the world's biggest cult band. I found it was very interesting. So pretty much, it talks about how, them growing up, where they grew up, and how like they were in other bands and how they came together. Talk about like when the first album came out, and even before that, talking about them doing demos and send them off to different radio stations to hope to get airplay. That somebody will hear it and hopefully sign them to a record deal. So around, I believe it like 1971, 72, around that time. I think it was around that time they started recording demos of their original material, and they were sending them off to different record, I should say, radio stations, and they might have also done it to because they were trying to get a record contract. But yeah, I found it was interesting because it showed footage of even before the band even started, of them, playing they were playing like at high school gyms, like at dances. I believe they also performed at churches, if I'm not mistaken, as well. But yeah, it was very interesting. So it says here, half an hour bonus and deleted scenes includes performance of Working Man, the best in the best I can, with original drummer John Rusty from 1974. Also, they performed La Villa Strangato from the 1979 Pink Pop Festival in Holland. Behind the Sun and Moon from the band's first show back after hiatus in Hartford, Connecticut in 2002. Live performances of Far Cry and, I don't pronounce it, Entire Gnosis from Snakes and Arrows tour. Yeah. Also, it says dinner with the band at the hunting lodge. So that they're talking about how the band all started and stuff like that, which was very interesting. They had other musicians like Gene Simmons talking about the band. So they had their first album out. Rush had their first album out in 1974. Rush or Kiss as well, and Rush opened up for Kiss. I believe Rush opened up for Kiss around 74, 75. I think around that time, maybe 76, for quite a few shows. So here's the inside. For quite a few shows there. Let me show you the inside. And talking about all the albums, like the albums, all the albums they released, from like the first album, and I think it's around probably when Fly By Night came out, or 2112 in 1976. Whew. They became very, very popular around their, I want to say maybe second, third, or fourth album. They became very popular. And their early stuff from, I would say, 74 up until maybe 76, 77, or 76. Their music was pretty much like hard rock, heavy metal, hard rock. And then around like the 80s, they kind of switched it up to, I don't know how to put it. In the 80s, it was like, if you heard the song Subdivisions, Tom Sawyer, stuff like that. I'm trying to think of another song. If you hear their early stuff, you can tell that's like heavy metal, hard rock. And then you hear the stuff in the 80s, it kind of completely took like a 360 right around, like completely different music from when they had the first couple albums out, because that was pretty much like hard rock, progressive. They had also, it's kind of like progressive rock, pretty much like hard rock, somewhat progressive rock. Later on, it became like different, because they had like synthesizers and everything. Because if you heard the song Subdivisions, and that there, even Tom Sawyer, that song, it was a little different from their early stuff they released in the early days. But yeah, what a great, like, this is what I like about like how the, like, both documentaries, how the band all started, and it was very interesting. And it showed like old footage, like, of who was it? Alex Lifeson, around maybe the late 60s, early 70s. And they showed old footage even before the band had their first album out and stuff like that. But yeah, I found it's very, very, very interesting documentary, definitely, for sure. So if you're a fan of Rush, definitely, this is definitely one to check out. So yeah, let me know what you think, and down in the comments, and thank you every single one of you for supporting me. Greatly, greatly appreciate for that. So thank you very, very much. And we talk about influences of theirs, like it said, like Beatles. I believe Beatles were some of their influences. Kiss, or Stones might have been another. I think Stones was probably another one. And the band was like a lot of bands do when they first get out there, and they're performing at bars or whatever, pretty much covering other songs by different artists. And like I said, later on they would write their own material and then they would perform it. And they would perform, like I said, at high school dances in the early days. And they would perform at churches, which I found that was different. A hard rock band performing at a church. And anyways, let me know what you think. I found it was a great documentary. Definitely one to check out for sure. Let me know what you think, and thank you so much for watching. And this be my last video today for sure. So thank you very much. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, and thank you every single one of you for supporting me. Greatly appreciated, and have a good day, and bye.